Everybody, Craig Shacklett here from URComped, another edition of Meet the Influencer. I've got a super interesting personality here today that his channel is growing like crazy. It's on fire. It is Karl from Hong Kong Slots, also with slot fans. We'll get into all this, all your tentacles in the casino industry, because you are ingrained deep, and I think it's fascinating. So first of all, Karl, Hong Kong, thank you so much for being here.
Loving it. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Of course. Well, hey, I like that hat. Tell me about that.
I'm feeling happy and prosperous today. I'm sure there's
You're
a lot of people in your network who play slots, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who play slots in your network that probably are familiar with Dragon Link. Happy and Prosperous is one of the 4 original titles of Dragon Link, and it's probably the most popular one. And so, we make this swag, and we'll talk about my whole product business, but I'm really a casino marketing guy, not an influencer. I happen to have an influencer business, but I'm really a casino marketing person.
Well, why don't we start off with that? Tell us about Hong Kong Slots. How did you start posting videos and move from a marketer, supplier, which we'll get to a little bit later, but into having your own channel?
Well, going into COVID, I think when people got shut in, this explosion of watching content online, it's, I call it kind of the Tiger King effect. Everybody's just locked in their house, bored out of their skull. And so they're looking for anything online to look at. And so they're, out there trolling all of the different YouTube channels. And because the casinos were all closed, the only thing people could do was watch other people playing slot videos, So all of a sudden there was this explosion of slot content on YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that. So that got my attention. When COVID ended, some of our clients who are big influencers, I saw that there was a big dramatic shift going on, that there are cumulatively millions of players who were watching slot content, and probably, I could make essentially the estimate that anybody who's watching endless slot content is probably a slot player. It's kind of like I watch nothing but golf videos, but I've never picked up a driver before. It's just unlikely. So right. There's all this video out there, and I thought to myself, it's something as a casino marketing person that I had to really understand. Who are these people? Why are they watching this content? And ultimately, what would their effect be on the industry? Is this ultimately the new frontier on how a property or a slot maker would interact with people who consume their product? And in my opinion, the answer is yes. It is a digital realm in which you can connect to and talk to people who ultimately will be your consumer.
So you're a casino marketer. You always want to serve your casino customers best, and you start seeing this wave of more and more video consumption of people playing slots, and you're like, hey, I like playing slots. I'm speaking as you like playing slots, and you decide, hey, I'm going to start making a channel. And so tell us about, when you first launched Hong Kong Slots, was there a certain video that really catapulted you to actually, not just kind of a tourist in the influencer space, but actually having, some real traction as a channel?
Yeah, well, when I first started the channel, I thought I'd get like 2 views per video or something, I have several videos that have really huge views on it. One that's over 1 million views, and it's a horrible video, actually. It's me getting an 18x bonus on a $125 spin on a Dragon Link machine at the Venetian. It's just, one of these things where you look at it and go, well, that sucked. And then so now 1 million people saw me with a video that sucked. But I think what happened for me is that I realized that even an ugly fool like me, usually you think of an influencer as some incredibly beautiful woman, and she's, hair blow drying her hair, and she's using some hair products, and she's, oh, look at how great I look. You guys should do the same thing. I thought, who's going to watch this stuff? And the answer was 20 million people. There's a lot of people watching this stuff, even my stuff, And then it made me realize when you take me and, hundreds of other people together, this community is like the size of the United States of America. It's huge. Some of these video channels are getting the same views as cable networks. And what are they doing? They're watching somebody press a button and go like this, kind of a thing, like, oh yeah, take a look at my jackpot, and it's so ridiculous. But then you realize it's not really that ridiculous, because these people love this sport and they want to live vicariously through other people. And so that consumption is probably unlikely to end. It's a place where it just continues to grow in its influence. And ultimately, it will be the place that is necessary for people in the gaming industry to connect to players. If you think about it, if a marketplace opens up and you've got a product and you refuse to enter that market for whatever reason, I don't like where it's located, I don't like the people around me in the marketplace, I think their marketing sucks or whatever like that, you ultimately risk alienating yourself or separating yourself from the people who ultimately will buy your product. I think there's no choice for gaming industry companies to be in this marketplace. The question now is how to do it effectively and how to do it with an ROI that's demonstrable. How do you make it to where the content and your objectives as a gaming company are aligned? And this is the complex part of it, because it is a little bit, Craig, like the wild, wild west. If you think about as we went west in the mid 1800s, everybody just pointed the direction and goes, hey, you guys ought to go west. Well, once you went west, there was Indians and stuff. And it's like, oh, well, it's dangerous out there. It's the same thing as social media. It's west and all the opportunity is out there, but it's still fraught with some stuff that you have to deal with. And that's ultimately what we're trying to contend with. How do you make it palatable? How do you make it corporate? How do you make it to where it's reliable and predictable? That is our role, to bridge between what social media influencers are trying to get and what our clients are trying to get. They're trying to get something that will bring them new players and bring them more gaming activity. And that is probably that's the real wild card. How do you get that done? It's the business that you're in, Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, with URComped, we worked with several influencers on different cruises or events, and I think that's why you and I hit it off so well, because I think we see where the puck is headed in a very similar light. That where the eyeballs are, that's where you got to be if you're an operator. And so I think we see the same thing, but I think it's awesome how we're approaching it from different directions. And I really respect that you actually dove in and you became an influencer yourself in a lot of ways. So, diving back into your channel, I know you're moving more to not just your play, you're also starting to kind of educate about the high roller life and a little bit more. Maybe you could talk about like how you see your channel evolving.
Most of the product that I see out there is, and I'm not taking a crack at anybody in specific, so hopefully nobody's offended by this, but most of it is, I kind of call it salacious entertainment. It's kind of like we manipulate the content to make it look like we always win, or we always have some massive jackpot, and we always leave the casino with like high-fiving each other and with like buckets of cash and stuff like that. And look, anybody who has a remaining brain cell knows that most people who go into a casino leave that casino with less dough than they arrived with. The idea that we want to promote that you're guaranteed to win, it's just ridiculous. What our channel is designed to do is to talk about why it's an entertainment product, and why even if you win or lose, you should be entertained. And we talk about realities. If you play a slot machine and that slot machine has a 10% hold, over a period of time, 90% of the money in it will come back to people, but it may not come back to you. You may be in the 10% piece and you walk off of the machine with zero. And that's how, I try to explain things is that everything is about time and place. If you're in the right spot at the right time, you can win. But it is a completely and infinite variable. That's why anybody who says I always win or I'm always up is probably should look at the brochure that says when the fun stops. You should probably get the brochure, and that's what we try to talk about. I show a lot of losing content. I do a lot of game reviews and say, if you want my advice, don't play this machine. I just showed you. I just lost $2,000 so that you don't have to, kind of a thing. And I get a lot of comments from people back. Thanks a lot, boy. I'll be sure to avoid that one. Or I have comments that come back and goes, well, you're just a loser. And, the next guy that gets on it is going to be a winner. And I can take either one. But I think what we want is authenticity. We're not here to basically say everybody's beautiful, everybody's rich, everybody's powerful, everybody wins. I just try to be able to say that it's an entertainment product. If you like bowling, somebody's going to have, is going to bowl, a 300, and somebody else is going to bowl an 11. You know what I mean? We have to be able to just let everybody know that in the world of entertainment, there's good and there's bad. And it's the same thing for slots. So authenticity, I think, probably is the number one thing. I just, I call balls and strikes, period.
Now, I know your channel's relatively young, like you said, but have you been recognized on the casino floor, not as, the casino marketer from somebody that works there, but as a channel? And what was that like the first time it happened, where somebody...
Well, a couple of days ago, I was at the Sahara and I was redeeming a food comp. I had a $350 food comp and I'm at like the snack bar or something like that. So, the guy looks at me and he says, it's a $350 comp. And I go, well, all I need is the 2 pieces of pizza and these 2 drinks right here. So basically, I just got up to everybody in line and I just said, hey, order whatever you want, kind of thing. So I created this kind of ruckus thing, And then this guy comes up to me and he just goes, you're the greatest human being on earth. I've watched you since day one. I think I was your 3rd subscriber. And my mother and I in the hospital watch you and we pray for you to win.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make that up. It's impossible to make that up, Greg. And I thought to myself, and I've lots of people come up, hey, you're Hong Kong, kind of a thing. And I take the picture and stuff. But I think probably people who watch slot content are lonely. They go into a casino. And if I was going to say anything profound to you, it would be, it's a lonely sport. In many cases, most people have a spouse or a daughter or a brother or a pastor or a boss or a politician or somebody telling you not to do this. What are you doing? It's kind of like cigarette smoking. You're puffing away like this and like your best friend goes, dude, you're going to kill yourself. You just hear that over and over and over again. And I think a lot of people who enjoy this do it in a clandestine way. They kind of disappear into the casino. They don't tell anybody where they're going. They quietly go into a corner and they do their thing. And in many ways, sometimes they're a little bit ashamed of it. I think when they look at me or they look at a slot channel, whatever, they understand that there are other people like them. And that creates a community of similar interests and values, a community of people that says it's okay to do this. And that is where the commercial opportunity is. The commercial opportunity is in the idea that I'm not alone, that I'm part of a group of people, and those people all believe in the same things that I do. So I'm going to align myself with them and trust them. And that's what I found with my channel is that people send me messages and they want to know what my advice is. And they're probably not asking their pastor for advice on playing happy and prosperous. You know what I mean? Usually you go to your pastor and you go, I've got this big decision. I'm thinking about getting a divorce or whatever like that. They're not going, hey, pastor, when I'm playing happy and prosperous, should I do a $25 bet or should I do like a 2-cent, $10 denom bet? Kind of, you know what I mean? It's like they're not doing that. They're going to the slot channel and going, hey, I got killed playing pennies. Should I play nickels?
Right.
And who else are you going to ask that question to than somebody as insane as they are? And so that's where that trust comes in. And that trust is marketable. Trust is critical in any brand. It's critical in any business. If there's no trust, there's no future. Everything becomes a one-trick pony. Everything becomes a one-off. In your business, in my business, everything is about sustainability. We have to create relationships that are permanent, and those relationships that can be utilized for commercial activities. And that's probably where you and I are aligned the most is that if everybody signed up once, did one thing, and then didn't do another thing after that, it probably doesn't work. It has to be something that there is continued engagement, continued activity, and that requires trust. And trust is something you have to have in the gaming industry, because if you don't trust the machine, you don't trust the property, you don't trust your judgment, you're probably not likely to play, in my opinion.
You touched on something interesting that we've done a handful of these interviews so far, but we mentioned comments before. Oh, I like this, I like that, but I've never heard anybody talk about like the questions you get or like kind of the interaction. So do you get a lot of those? Like, a lot of questions from people, your opinion on different machines, or like, tell me a little bit about that kind of, what you get and what you give back. In regards
1,000 a day, and I've tried desperately to respond to every one of them. Sometimes I can just put a thumbs up on them, but there's so many, it's incalculable. The questions are typically, they either make me a comment, you shouldn't have played that game, or you should try a different denom, or I get some trolls that basically say, you're a degenerate freak. I get all these kind of things coming in. But I would say the overriding question that I get is, how do I become a better slot player? People want to believe that there's a better way. And that better way, that there must be something I'm doing wrong because I'm losing. And to a degree, there is a better way. One of the better ways is to know when to stop playing, to know when a machine just simply is not going to pay. And there are times when you can sense it and feel it. I have a strategy called the min-max strategy. If a machine is super tight, I will play the minimum bet and count the number of spins between bonus intervals. If you think about it, Craig, and I don't know how much you personally play slots or gamble, so I'll just assume that like same experience that I have. But on a next generation, highly volatile, very popular game like Dragon Link, the entire return to player is in the bonus. So the more frequent the bonus, the higher the payout is. The less frequent, the more the collection is. So what we do is we count bonus intervals. And typically, if a machine has on average a 25x return on a bonus, you put $1 in, it pays $25. That means the next bonus you have to get within 25 spins in order to stay at parity. Okay. Now these machines have the ability to go up in some cases 1,000x. I hit a $50,000 capped major on a Dragon Cash machine with a $50 bet in there. Okay. And it was free play. Now this is like two molecules colliding in outer space, the probability of it, but it did happen. And so that's where you get this massive recovery kind of a thing. But day in, day out, how many spins to get a bonus? And what did you earn on the bonus? That min-max strategy I try to talk about a lot. If a machine is cold, bet the minimum amount count the number of spins as it gets closest to 100, then switch to a max bet. Because my whole thing is why spend a max bet on a machine that has 100 dead spins in it? You know what I mean? It runs contrary to thinking. I'm just going to keep throwing money at it with a Hail Mary, but we know it's not performing right now. So do a $1.25 bet instead of a $12.50 bet. When it gets to 100, change to $12.50. And the likelihood is it's going to hit sometime soon because it's already had 100 dead spins. That's what the idea is. So what I try to do is tell people these kinds of things. And hopefully, they like it. They think that there's some value in it. Does it work every time? No. But is it a logical assumption of some kind? I would say yes. Don't throw good money against bad. And here's one way that you do it. But that's, I really think that is the comment, is how do I become a better player? And so I talk about these things a lot, and I tell people they should try it.
Interesting. Now, we touched on this a little bit already, but where do you feel like this casino industry influencer phenomenon is heading? Let's say over the next 5 years, how do you think this will evolve, the relationship between influencers and casinos? And just
this is about a week's worth of direct mail that ends up in my mailbox. This is about a week.
It's a lot.
I get about I'd say 800 pieces of direct mail a month from casinos. People don't read mail anymore. Do you go home at night, Craig, and go, the mailman's here, gotta go, let's go to the mailman? We used to just sit on top of the mailbox and where's the mailman? Where's the mailman? There's a check in there of some kind. There's, a job offer in there. We used to sit there and wait for the mailman. Who's doing that today? The mail has, Trump flyers in there or something like that, or 2-for-1 coupons at a dry cleaner that nobody goes to a dry cleaner anymore. It's got nothing but stuff in there that just people aren't interested in. So it ends up just getting thrown away. And that's the same thing for the casino stuff. Some older folks may sit there and do the clip the coupon and I've got a 2-for-1 buffet or what. They may still do that to a degree. But the bulk of America has moved on to a QR code. You can't even find a menu anymore, kind of thing. It's like everything they've stripped everything away from it. But the casino industry, I would say, probably is still spending close to $1 billion a year on direct mail. Mailing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pieces of thing that basically says Thursday is crab at the buffet day, kind of a thing. And they've sent that thing out 100 times to the same person. And at some point, it just doesn't work anymore. And I think that these new digital technologies like URComped, like social media, will be the marketplace in how you communicate value to players. You can't communicate it in direct mail anymore. Anything that is a two-dimensional device, it is not interesting enough for people to embrace it and utilize it. You know what I mean? Nothing's on paper anymore. Every single thing, every document that you do in a bank is done on DocuSign or whatever. It's paper is becoming irrelevant. And the casino industry needs to understand that at some point you're just basically pushing on a wet string. It's not going anywhere, So that's what I think the future is. The future is it's channels with rich content. It's short and concise. It's got demonstrable views on it. And we want to insert our message somewhere in there. Right now, today, it's I want a jackpot. The things that are missing is where did I win it? And on what machine did I win it on? If we can put those things in there, it becomes a viable piece of media that you can use to communicate with a large network of players.
Now, you're obviously a guy that thinks about this from a lot of different angles, from a player perspective, from a casino partner perspective with Concept 3, which we'll touch on in a minute, and then as an influencer. Now, when you look at other channels, and again, not to get anything specific, are there any activities, behaviors that influencers may do that might be hurting the adoption of influencers by casinos? Like just stuff that's done where maybe one casino, it happened once and now they're like, hey, we're going to step back. No recording our casino for a while. Like, do you see anything out there that maybe influencers need to wake up and stop doing so they can help grow?
I'm very verbose, obviously. I talk way too much, but I'm going to use one word to describe what you just said, and it's ego. Nobody has a bigger ego than a casino. So if you're talking to a GM, you're talking to the head of MGM, you're talking to a director of marketing, it's the not invented here place. We built it. We designed it. We put the message on the marquee. All these people are in here because of us, kind of a thing. And so the influencers typically come in and say, actually, no, you're wrong. They're coming in here to see me. It's all about me. Okay. So where you thought it was about you, it's actually about me. And by the way, if you want me to come in and bring the people in here, it's going to cost you 50 grand. That's the mistake that they make. What they do is they go in there and say, I'm in control and I need you to understand that. That is not the case. Do they have a big following? Yes. Do they have influence? Yes. But until they understand how a casino works, how a casino makes money, and all the complexities operationally of running that business and all the nuances, ultimately, they're not in a position to build their brand value in there. You have to go in from the perspective of, I'm here to help. Here are the tools and the resources that I have that could be important for you. And here's how I'm going to reposition them so that we can create more player value and more income for you. I can't tell you the number of times that I put influencers in front of my clients who are GMs and tribal chairmen and stuff like that. And they come in there and they say, everybody loves me and everybody's watching me and everybody needs me. When all that script has to be is flipped that just says, I love your property. I love your brand. And I want to come in here and make it even better. How can we do that together? It's a flipping of the script and it's changing the context of the exact same message, which is we all need more money. I need more players. I need more free slot player. Everything. You're in the business of more. URComped is more. I don't have enough. I need more. So where do you go? I go to URComped. Why? Because they understand I need more and they're going to go find somebody that's going to give me more. Am I right?
Yep.
That's
from a casino perspective, they want more players that come to URComped and we introduce them to more players.
Because the one thing we know about players is it's never good enough. That jackpot wasn't big enough. The cabin that I got wasn't large enough. The buffet that I went to didn't have enough food in it. Everything is more. But when you approach a casino as an influencer, you have to be able to say, I'm here to bring you more. And I'm going to do it on your terms. And I'm going to make it your brand. And I'm going to make it your players. If you go into a casino and just say, you need me, and I need 50 grand. And if you don't give it to me, I'm going to go next door and do it over there. That doesn't work. It doesn't work for a reason is because the gaming industry is a traditional and old school industry, highly regulated, and you're not going to go in and convince people that these advanced digital solutions are absolutely necessary for their survival. You're just not going to convince them that. Even if it was true, they're not going to believe it. We have to go in and we have to talk to them about value, and we have to explain it to them in terms that they understand. And if we do that, the influencer role has a lot of value and it has a lot of future capability. But I still see it over and over again. It's all me. Look at me. Look at how many subscribers are watching me. Look at how great the jackpot is that they paid me. Everything is me. And we have to change the me to us. That's what we have to do. And if we do that, we will win and we will grow the space that you and I are in. Wow, I got to tell you something. That was kind of almost music needed to be played in the back of that one.
I know. Yeah, we need to put some chariots of fire behind it and play it for every influencer before they go talk to a casino, because that was actually really insightful. And I think, 100% solid advice, because I hadn't thought of it that way, but everything you just said made sense. And I feel like we could be talking for another 2 hours, which means we need to do another one of these soon, because I do want to, on the next one, dive into more in concept 3 and your background there and how that developed. Obviously we're running out of time here, but
yeah,
for folks that want to follow you, want to start following Hong Kong Slots and learn more about Karl, what are your coordinates? How should they find you? How should they get a hold of you?
Well, the usual suspects: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's Hong Kong Slots is the name of the channel. You can find it very easily. We're at the top of the search grid with the word Hong Kong. But Facebook is a good place to join me at. There's a lot of information about what we're doing, and we're doing a lot of events. So anybody that's interested in coming to one of our events, we'd love to see you. I'd love to be able to, reach out to me and talk to me about it. I'm here to make the industry better. That's what I'm here for. My whole relationship with you, Craig, is all designed so that we can create a better place for players. And if we do that, I think there's a business there,
Absolutely. Well, obviously you've been very successful in your business, and thank God URComp's doing well. So I think combined, we're going to do amazing things. I look forward to doing that over the coming months and years. So Karl, hey, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come talk to me, and I look forward to doing this again soon.
Yeah, good. And everybody be happy and prosperous. Okay.
Amen. All right. Hey, thanks a lot, Karl.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.